Here are all 45 narration segments for Empath.ai. You cried at a commercial once. Maybe a song that came on when you were alone in the car, and the whole time the tears were falling, one thought was louder than the emotion itself. What is wrong with me? You have been told your whole life that you are too sensitive. You have been told to toughen up, to stop taking things so personally, to just get over it. You have likely spent years apologizing for your tears. But I am here to tell you something that nobody ever told you. The diagnosis you have been given your entire life is wrong. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not weak. You are not broken. And you are certainly not a mistake. You are what psychologists call a highly sensitive person. But I prefer a different term. You are a supersensor. While most people record the world in standard definition, your brain is recording in 8K resolution. You notice everything. You process everything. You feel everything. And today, we are going to look at the neuroscience that proves your sensitivity is not a defect. It is a high-performance radar system. One that the world desperately needs. To understand yourself, we have to start with your hardware. Because this is not just a personality quirk. This is biology. Research shows that your brain processes information differently from the other 80% of the population. Think of the human brain like a camera. Most brains are recording the world in standard definition, efficient, clean, gets the job done. But your brain is recording in 8K resolution. Every texture, every shadow, every emotional nuance, sharp, vivid, and fully present. And neuroscience has identified exactly why that is. The first upgrade in your hardware is called low latent inhibition. Most brains are designed to filter out 90% of incoming information just to save energy. But your brain treats everything as relevant, the texture of a chair, the hum of a refrigerator, the mood of a person before they have said a single word. This is why certain days feel absolutely exhausting when nothing even happened. You were not tired from doing too much. You were tired from feeling too much, because your system was running at full capacity the entire time. But here is what that same biology gives you. You notice beauty that others walk straight past. You catch problems before they become crises. You read people with an accuracy that borders on unsettling. The second upgrade is your mirror neurons. These are the neurons that allow us to empathize. But for you, it goes beyond understanding that someone is sad, you physically feel their sadness inside your own body. Your brain is literally simulating their emotional state inside you. You are not imagining it. You are not being dramatic. This is your neurology doing something extraordinary. The third upgrade is what psychologists call depth of processing, or the pause-to-check strategy. In a conversation, or when making a decision, you might feel slower than others. You might beat yourself up for hesitating or overthinking. But here is what is actually happening. While others are reacting to what is right in front of them, your brain is connecting the current moment to your past memories, predicting future outcomes, and analyzing the meaning behind every word. You are not hesitating because you are confused. You are hesitating because your brain is running a complex simulation to ensure the best possible outcome. That is not a bug. That is high-level computation. And evolution kept it for a very specific reason. If sensitivity was a weakness, natural selection would have eliminated it thousands of years ago. But it did not. Because the tribe needed you. In ancient times, the warriors were essential, bold, fast, risk-taking. But a tribe of only warriors would die. You were the royal advisor. You were the one who noticed the weather changing before the storm hit. You were the one who sensed that the alliance was breaking before anyone had spoken a word. Society today is loud, fast, and built for the warriors. That is why you feel out of place. But being out of place in a world built for a different kind of person is not the same thing as being without value. I know that carrying this radar comes with a cost. Because you process everything so deeply, you reach your limit faster. When you suddenly need to shut down and hide in a quiet room, that is not you being dramatic. That is your system overheating. But science has a beautiful metaphor for this. Most people are like dandelions, resilient, growing anywhere, in the crack of a sidewalk or a manicured garden. They are fine regardless of the environment. But you are an orchid. If you try to grow in a harsh, noisy, or toxic environment, you will wither. You will struggle more than the dandelions. And for years, you have probably blamed yourself for not being a dandelion. But the research shows something called vantage sensitivity. When an orchid is placed in the right environment, the right light, the right soil, the right care, it does not just survive. It blooms with a complexity and beauty that the dandelion can never achieve. You do not need to toughen up to survive the sidewalk. You need to move yourself to the greenhouse. When you curate your life to support your sensitivity, you do not just catch up to others. You surpass them. Now let me say something directly to you. Something beyond the science. You have probably spent years treating your sensitivity like a problem to be managed. Apologizing for your reactions. Shrinking yourself before someone else could call you too much. Performing a version of yourself that felt less threatening, less visible, less real. That performance has a cost. Every time you override what your body is trying to do, you are choosing the comfort of the room over your own nervous system. And your nervous system keeps track. It remembers every time you told it to be quiet. Now let us talk about the tears themselves, because the science here will change how you see them forever. Emotional tears are chemically different from any other kind. They contain measurable stress hormones that are physically being flushed out of your body when you cry. Research also shows that crying triggers the release of oxytocin and endorphins, the same chemicals your body uses to numb pain and restore calm. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the branch responsible for rest and recovery. In other words, crying is not a breakdown. Crying is a biological repair mechanism. Your body, in its infinite intelligence, built a system specifically to help you process what would otherwise become trapped inside you. And what happens when you do not let it work? When you keep swallowing the tears and telling yourself to be stronger? The emotions do not disappear. They go deeper. They accumulate. Studies show that suppressed emotion does not stay quiet. It becomes chronic anxiety. It becomes physical tension. It becomes the kind of invisible weight you carry everywhere and cannot quite explain to anyone, including yourself. Refusing to cry is not stoicism. It is refusing to exhale. And nobody is strong for holding their breath forever. Stop trying to rewire your biology. You cannot change your sensory processing sensitivity, and you should not want to. The world has enough numbness. It does not need more people who have learned to feel less. Audit your environment. Your sensitivity does not need to be cured. It needs the right conditions. The relationships that drain you, the spaces that overwhelm you, the situations that leave you completely hollowed out, those are not proof that you are broken. They are information about where you do not belong. Let the tears come when they need to come. Not because you have given up. But because you understand now that your body built this system on purpose. And fighting it is not strength. Start moving yourself toward the greenhouse. Because when you are in the right environment, you do not just survive. You become something that people in the wrong environment can never be. Here is what I want you to really hear. You have been handed a version of yourself that was edited by other people's discomfort. A version that learned to be smaller, quieter, less. And somewhere along the way, you stopped asking whether that version was actually you, or just the version that kept the peace. Today, I am asking you to ask that question again. Your tears are not random. They are telling you something, about what matters to you, about where your boundaries have been crossed, about where something beautiful just touched the deepest part of who you are. That is not noise. That is signal. You feel deeply. You notice everything. You cry at things that do not move other people, and it has always made you feel like there was a flaw in your wiring. But the flaw was never yours. The flaw was in what we were taught about what strength is supposed to look like. Strength is not the absence of tears. Strength is feeling everything and choosing to stay present anyway. You are not too sensitive. You are just seeing the world in a resolution that most people were never built for. And in a world growing more disconnected every day, your ability to feel is not a burden. It is the most human thing about you.
Like to learn more about human psychology? Like, comment, and share this video. Subscribe my channel now. Thank you for watching.